What behaviors or other things are signs of trauma, and how does it manifest itself at different ages?
So some of the very typical behaviors that we see that are symptoms of trauma: lying, stealing, manipulation, a high need for control, food hoarding. Those are some of the big ones that I see clinically. Parents come in with concerns about. Generally, when I see kiddos, it's because they are displaying one of those. I would offer that any behavior could be a symptom of trauma or a symptom of development. Behavior serves a function. A behavior is a way that children and adults alike communicate. So if I have a bad day and I start snapping at people, the snapping and being short with people, that's the way that I'm communicating. I just had a really rough day. So the same is true for kids. So when we have a child that is engaging in a consistent and persistent pattern of behavior, we have to take a step back and say, what is this child trying to communicate through this behavior? What function is this behavior serving for them? Now, kids developmentally will just naturally engage in certain behaviors. Every child at some point lies. Can the child be redirected from that? And can they learn quickly from that redirection that it's not okay to lie? If lying becomes a consistent pattern and it's happening over and over again, then we have to start saying, could this be a symptom of trauma? But again, that's going to display differently for every child. The other thing about behaviors that's a little bit interesting is that behaviors, if I feel upset, I'm going to display that in an adult way. I might get short with people, I might shut down, depending on if I go in my shutdown system, my passive system, or my aggressive system. Or I might say, hey, I'm really upset right now, can we talk about this? For children, their behaviors look a little bit different. So if a child is feeling really angry, oftentimes anger equals sadness. And what we do as grown-ups is we come to that child and we want them to stop throwing that tantrum. We want them to stop throwing things. And we miss that there's something going on. This tantrum, this physical aggression is serving as communication. And as parents and caregivers, we have to play that detective role of what is going on for this child. So when we talk about what does the second part of that question, what does each behavior look like at different ages? Well, it would be what you would expect to see from any 2-year-old in some ways. You might see tantrums. Some 2-year-olds, though, are very, very clever, and some 2-year-olds will learn manipulation as a survival skill. Again, we don't want this to be this child's a manipulator. This is a symptom of their trauma. This is a function for them. They're trying to communicate something. Some 2-year-olds will go, they will seek food in other ways. They'll wake up in the middle of the night and start eating. I've seen kiddos do that before. Some children will learn to eat out of the garbage can. And that is what helped them to survive. So even at a young age, 2-year-olds can show manipulative behaviors because that helped them to survive. But we want to again look at the development. So as a child progresses in development, that manipulation is going to look a lot different than it would in a 2-year-old. Children across the age that have been traumatized will tantrum. For 2-year-olds, we call it a tantrum. For an older child, we call it a rage. That's the same exact thing. We just call it different things for the different ages, okay? So we're going to look at what would we expect developmentally from this child, but know that across the span that we're going to see a wide range of behaviors for kids. We're going to ask ourselves, is this a consistent and persistent behavior? Because if it's consistent and persistent, it's likely a symptom of trauma.